All right, so the theme of this week at camp was take heart, and that's what I'm sure most of them are going to be talking about, and that's what is going to be like the theme of the day, I guess you could say. And the pastor at Student Life, the description that he gave of take heart was have confidence, courage, and cheer, the three C's. And when I was thinking about what my definition of the phrase take heart would probably be have faith and do. And when you think about that, is having faith in our Creator and the one that gives us strength, and having faith in what His plan for your life is, and having faith in that. And the second part is to do. That's something hard for teens, especially this day, to have faith in, is doing. And that's something that I have trouble in doing, is to do. And so that's probably something that God has worked in me, is to do, and have faith in that as well.
Hi, good morning. I'll try not to read right off of this, but I might just do that anyway. I just quickly wanted to share with you guys something that really stuck with me this past week at camp. And first I want to thank James and Becca for taking us on this trip, and I want to thank all of you guys for making it possible, because it really was a really good senior camp, a really good camp to end on. So while this camp was something different and new than what we've done in the past, it was really exciting and just really fun to be there. Like, they really made you feel welcome, and it was fun to be part of everything. And one second. So this week was different in the fact that while we did listen to the pastor talk, we also met with our life group and church group leaders after each session. And so our life group leader was just the girls separated with Becca and the guys with James. And something that Becca said one night in one of our meetings really stuck with me, was that if you're not living your life for God, then it's not worth it. So this really stuck with me, because lately I found myself kind of living my life for other things. So I would find that I would live like to please other people or to make other people happy, and this really just kind of hit with me that, if I'm not living my life for God, then it's really not worth it. Nothing else is worth living a life for Him. And so that's really easy to say, to realize that and say, hey, I'm not living my life for God, but how do I change that? It's easier to say it than to actually do it, like Makai said. And this is where it comes in, like the theme of the whole week, which is take heart, which I took take heart as meaning be brave and take courage, because struggles are going to come. I would find myself kind of like pushing down the way I felt or any of my feelings, kind of to make others happy, and that was really just taking hold of my heart, and that's something I wanted to change. I just didn't know how. And so we learned that taking heart against the struggles of this world, and while I learned so many ways to take heart and be brave, such as trusting God or being obedient, and much more, what stuck out to most of me was Pastor's final lesson on being patient. He said, take heart that the work God has started in your life, He will complete. So that's something I also struggle with, is being patient, and I kind of just want to look to the future, like how's this going to end up being different? What's the outcome going to be? And I've struggled with just being patient and just focusing on the now. And one of the final things he told us that also really stuck with me was, don't fight yesterday's problems or work ahead to tomorrow's, but focus on the now and be present and focus on living for Him today, because He gives us what we need every day.
Hi, I'm Erica. First, I just want to thank everyone who made camp this year possible, and for James and Becca for organizing everything and doing a great job as usual. And they just made it really memorable and super special. So thank you for everyone who made it possible. So to start off, I just want to say that before camp, I was just probably going through the motions a little bit of being a Christian, and like everyone does in their life, I was experiencing a lot of doubt, worry, and just facing some struggles in general. And the problem was not that I was facing these struggles, because, like I said, everyone does at some point in life. The problem was that I was not giving them over to God. I would just keep them So I think it was like the first day in camp, we got to our church group meeting, and one of the first things that we talked about was that how we need to be real with God and real with our emotions and not bottle them up. So just realizing that has already made such a great impact on my life. And then when we get to the theme of the week, which is take heart, we went through like 12 take heart statements, I think, but the main one that stuck out to me was take heart that God is strengthening you for what he's called you to do. And as I said before camp, I had been experiencing a lot of worrying and just in a constant mindset of overthinking, and I felt like I had to have kind of a plan for everything. I had to like have everything worked out, and when it came to my future, I had no idea. Like going into sophomore year, and people asked the question, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And like I had no response to that. I had no idea. And so just to be able to just give that over to God and trust in his plan for my life has just made such a big difference. And it took a lot of just change for me to be able to do that and understand that he has a purpose for me that's greater than anything that I could ever think of. And that all the struggles that I'm going through and the trials and the worrying, that it's all preparing me for what God's calling me to do in my life. And that when I do walk through these seasons of uncertainty, when I don't really know what I'm going to do, I know that I can stand on God's promises, and I know that he's never going to leave me, he's always with me, and that I'm always loved. So.
Hi, I'm Giovanni. So this week during camp, I just want to first of all thank everyone, James, Becca, and then everyone who donated to all the fundraisers we did for allowing us to be there and going. So this week was a very emotional week for all of us. I know a lot of people can agree with that, how it was very emotional, but to me one of the most emotional and like one of the most days that hit hard was Thursday when the pastor, Grant, he talked about God's plan for us. He talked about how Elijah was used by God, and one of the verses I found for that he said that I really liked was James 5:17. says, Elijah was a man subject to like passions as we are, and he prayed earnestly that it might not rain. And it rained not on the earth, but by space of 3 years and 6 months. So this verse is telling us that Elijah was just an ordinary person like we all are, and he prayed for rain to go away. He prayed for ordinary things, and he has the same passions as us. But God was able to use Elijah in ways that he can use all of us. So one of my first of all, there were 12 take heart statements, but one of the main ones for me was the same as Erica's. It was take heart that God will strengthen you to do whatever it is he is calling you to do. So for me, last year around this time, I talked to James after youth group one day about me, because I was interested in going into the ministry field, and I was talking about maybe becoming a pastor one day. So I talked to James about that, and then throughout the year I kept getting on and off about what I wanted to do with that or not, and then I kept getting to the point that I don't really want to be in front of a big church all the time talking, but maybe be used by another way. So this week I kind of put it aside, and then this week again, during camp, it just got me back on the track, and then I went and talked to the lead singer of the SL worship band there one night. I talked to him about how I talked to James last year, and then I said how he decided what he wanted to do with ministry, and he helped me realize that going into ministry isn't only just being a big pastor in front of a church. It could be a youth pastor, it could be worshiping like everyone else up here, it could be through ministries. So I asked him how he decided to go and figure out what he wanted to do with his life, and he just took me through basically a summary of what we learned and all that, and that we have to take heart that God has a plan and a divine purpose for us. So he told me that one of the most important things to do is pray about it and to figure out what I want to do, and also to ask other people about their stories. So personally, if anyone could pray for me to figure out what I need to do and how I can do there, that would be really helpful for me. And then lastly, it wasn't a take heart statement, but during the lesson about Elijah, the pastor said something, and it says, we don't need to obey God for recognition. Rather, we need to work with God in private for him to use us or to promote us in public. Thank you.
Hey everyone, good morning. My name is Cameron. Can everyone say hey, Cameron? I have one simple point today. How many do I have? And what is it? Simple. All right. Again, I just want to thank James and Becca and everyone in this room for making this trip possible. I had a blast. I definitely want to recognize is Gary and Leanne Sanders. We really thank you guys for donating for us and everything. Like, I don't know if people understand how much that really hits us, and we're really thankful. But then again, I want to thank James and Beck for taking their week to take us, and I especially want to thank James, finding my headphones on the bus that have been on there over a year now. So, yeah. The thing I wanted to touch over was take heart. And like Micaiah said when he came up here, he said, Pastor Grant there said, take heart. And his definition was, have courage, confidence, and cheer. Now, our main verse for the week was John 16:33. Here in this verse it says, and Jesus is speaking to his disciples, and to get the actual word I was wanting out of it, I used the English Standard Version here. So, it says here, Jesus is saying, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace, but in the world you will have tribulation. But take heart. I have overcome the world. And if we take our original definition that we used and rephrase this, I'll say, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation. But have courage, confidence, and cheer that I have overcome the world. You see, many of us, including myself, struggle with stress, anxiety, etc. all the time. The devil's always attacking us, and that's why we always got to be ready. But one thing we always usually forget, like it says here in this verse, Jesus has already overcome the world. We all have our own little battles against our own sin. And Jesus, through the power of God, and he has already won this battle. Like, we already have this battle won. We're just waiting for our King to come back to claim our victory.
So first off, I just want to say a big thank you to our whole church for helping donate and pay for us to come to this camp this week. And I also want to say a big thank you to James and Becca, because this camp was actually my last one in the youth group, because I did just graduate high school. So, to be honest, I wasn't as excited for this camp as I was the other ones, but this camp turned out to be one of my favorites, and it was honestly an amazing week. The theme for this week, as you all know, was Take Heart, and the main verse was John 16:33, which it says, These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace, in the world ye shall have tribulation. But be of good cheer, and I have overcome the world. Each day, we had like a different focus, and as someone said, there were like 12 main take heart points. And one of my favorite days was day 4, and something that the pastor there said that stuck out with me was, great opponent, greater God. I took that as saying, when you're trying to tell someone about him, it doesn't matter what you know, because you have him and his word on your side. And something that made camp even better was the worship team. Like, the music there and like the songs we sang every day was amazing, and they all hit home to me. And so, I mean, yeah, this camp was amazing, I guess. So.
Hi, everybody. So, like Nicole and Allison said, this is our last camp. And so what God worked on me through, or one thing he worked on me through this camp, was to show my appreciation for my time in the youth group. So I have been in the youth group probably about 8 years now. No, that's not right. That's too much. 6 years, sorry. And it's just blown by. It feels like yesterday I was sitting in the back of the youth room while Brady, Logan, and Cade were up there singing, and I'm just sitting there like blowing everything off, cracking jokes to some people who were next to me, and just completely ignoring everything. But this week is just like through our time having fun on the rec field, playing games, and just doing cheers for our teams that we had. We were on Team Shock, and the other team was Team Surge. And even during worship, because during worship they would allow us to come up to the stage rather than stay in our seats, and we sometimes the song would be a little upbeat to where we would all jump around, including the praise team up there, and then sometimes it would just be just standing still and just lifting up your arms and praising God. And so, yeah, like this week he just worked on me to show that I have completely show my appreciation for my time in the youth group, because at the end of the day, here in a few weeks, I will be leaving for college, and I will not be part of the youth group anymore. And so this week it's just been great, and I even though in the beginning of my time in the youth group it was a little down, I'm glad towards the end at least God showed me my time was a great time, and through James and Becca, my time in the youth group was an amazing time. So thank you.
All right. So I'm not going to cry, but I don't know, if you don't get a little bit emotional about this and what's going on in their lives, then something's wrong. You guys would have been so proud of them this week. I'm just going to start off with that. Every single one of them took notes. We didn't force that. We encouraged them to bring a notepad, but every single one of them did. Every single one of them didn't have their phones, and they might have complained behind the scenes, but they were great about it towards us, and they just were all in everything, and they were willing and open to what God was doing in their life. And that's a testament to our church as well. They look to you guys, and they love you guys, and you showing them love makes a huge impact on their lives. I think more than you even know, so thank you. So I'm up here giving a testimony because I think it's really important for teens, for young adults, for everyone to know that God is still working in all of our lives. And whether you're a parent or a leader in the church or a pastor or a pastor's wife, God is still working in me, and I still struggle. And it's so important for us to be real as Christians. And so that is why I'm up here, because Satan is strong and he tries to discourage us in so many different ways. But even though he's a great opponent, God is greater. And so I'm going to tell you one thing from each day that God used to help me. And it's pretty amazing that this is God ordained, right? We picked this camp. I don't know if we knew what the theme was, but take heart. I'm not a teen, but it is God ordained that I went to this camp because it is something I needed. And every day, God spoke into me to help me with the situations I'm struggling in. And so it's truly amazing. So day one, the thing I got the most is he's not asking us to overcome the world. He's asking me to take heart because he's already won the battle. He has overcome the world, so my future, my family, this church, his church, my grandpa, my brother, everything I try to do, and sometimes I feel like I have to perform or make something happen or fix something, all of that stuff. God says, no, rest in me, my child. I have your future in my hands because I am greater. Day two, we will have to walk through the fire. It says walking, right? Not running. So walking is not fast unless you're walking with Amy Hedges, because she's fast, but it's slow. Your trial, your spiritual battle that you find yourself in, your hard circumstance, your time of confusion that you're in, it may seem long, and it may take time for you to get through it. It may be an inch by inch, but God is there with you in the midst of that flame. And he says, rest in him. It will not consume you because he is greater. Day three, life is not worth living without Christ. Living for self? Nah. Living for others? Nah. Living for social media? TikTok famous? Nah. All of this may bring temporary happiness, but the end, it will leave us void of joy and purpose. So rest in God, find your purpose and passion for life in him because God is greater. Day four, sometimes God doesn't raise up an army, he raises up the one willing heart on fire for God. Because when God is involved, it doesn't matter who you are. It matters who he is and who he has always been. the day, because that's the victory. Don't fight yesterday's battle, and don't focus on tomorrow or the day after. Win the day. Claim one of his promises each day and repeat it several times a day if you have to. He will get you through whatever you may find yourself in. You may not feel peace right away, but claim his promises. You may not be happy, claim his promises. You may have doubts about your future, claim his promises. Rest in him, my child. He never fails. He will see you through because God is greater. And I just want to end with this. God may be saying, there is so much more I want to do in you, because there is so much more I want to do through you. God is greater, and greater things are still to come.
John chapter 16:33. I don't know whoever does the tissues up here, but I killed this box. So we need another box right there. I killed it. This was a wonderful camp. I'm going to just share with you a little bit of what I got out of it and kind of an encouragement to you guys. You're not there. You weren't there. I tried to share as many videos if you follow me on social media or our youth page on social media. I tried to share a bunch, go live a few, just so you get a picture of what's going on, because there was just some amazing things going on there. One thing that stuck out to me I don't even remember who said it, when they said it or whatever, but somebody talked about, and I've talked about it 1,000 times, but I've never said it quite the way that this guy did. Every single year, we've been here 11 years now. We were at another youth group for a year and a half. I've been on countless youth trips before that, and everybody always talks about the high of what? Camp, right? Always the high of camp. And so this guy spoke about it just for a few seconds, just kind of talking and encouraging the teens, and I've never heard of it this way. He says, we always talk about this high of camp. He says it doesn't have to be a high of camp. He said camp this week could be the lowest week in your life. You see, all the things that you learned and all the things that you've grown in, it can grow even more after this. And that just, it was like, wow, I really appreciated the way he said that. It really hit home to me that this week could be the lowest week. This time in our life could be the lowest time, and that God can do something great with what we've learned this week. This year we had 6 brand new campers, so it was exciting to have them with us. Some brand new to the youth group, and then some that weren't able to go before, so we were glad to have them. We took 20 total with us, including our kids, which we thought was going to be a mistake. You just never know how your kid's going to react, but man, it was amazing having our kids there, having them learn and grow along with the teens. The teens were great with them. But as a way of starting out, our theme verse was John 16:33. I will read it along with every other teen that just read it in just a moment. But I did want to give you some things that I didn't think would happen, okay? I learned this week that it's called spilling the tea. Has anybody ever heard spilling the tea before? Okay, the teens are rolling their eyes. Okay, I am about to spill the tea on the teens. Okay, basically it means I'm going to give you all the gossip. Okay, but I will not say any names. However, if you watch with a keen eye and watch this group over here, you might see some pointing. You might see some looking at certain people. Okay. I will not embarrass them too much, but I will give you some things that I did not think would happen. I didn't think our teens would make it this week without their phones, okay? I did not think it was going to be possible. I thought there was going to be secret compartments in some of their suitcases that when they turned in a phone, it was going to be an old phone, and all of a sudden we see this real phone and they're hiding over there texting, but man, they did wonderful. And I was a little nervous because we have never done this before. We have never taken their phones away. We have taken them for the night, okay? We have taken them for the afternoon. We have given them back at camp just so we can get a hold of them, just so we know where they are in certain places. This was a step of faith, like we're going to take their phones. And not only that, But this was not a camp rule, and they didn't know it. So I was a little nervous that the first day when they get there, they're walking down the sidewalk. They got a phone. They got a phone. Why do all these people have phones? I thought this was a rule. It was our rule. And then the first day we get in there, and the two people that get up, and they're kind of the game time people and everything. Hey, take out your phones. We want you to follow us on social media. And it's like, oh boy. Every one of their eyes went to us. I said, I'll write down the name of these people, and you can get it back whenever it's on Friday, okay? So I didn't think our teens would make it, but man, did they ever. I didn't think that I would have to tell a teenager to eat. Did you ever think that would happen? Tell a teenager to eat, but I did, okay? I didn't think that I would have to tell a teen not just to eat ice cream for lunch, but I did, okay? I didn't think that I would have to tell a teen to go to bed before 4:45 in the morning, but I did, okay? We had some strict rules the next night, didn't we? I won't look over here, but didn't we, teenager? Okay? I didn't think I would have to tell a teen to take a shower, but I did. I didn't think I would have to tell a teen not to drink an energy drink at 11:45 at night, but I did. Same one. I didn't think our teen boys, Makai, Cameron, and Teo, could even possibly win a 3-on-3 tournament against a bunch of seemingly more talented teams. But they did. Let's show those pictures real quick. Here is the 3-on-3 tournament right there. This is the championship game. I mean, we could not believe it. They were going up against a guy that could have played for a D1 school, okay? Another guy that could have wrestled a bear, honestly, and he almost did wrestle some of our teens. He got in trouble. Hey, can you stop fouling so hard? These are teenagers. They were all youth ministers, and then another guy that could just shoot the lights out. And somehow our boys won, and go ahead and go to the next picture, the 3-on-3 tournament. So there they are. Everybody give them a hand real quick. It was awesome. I mean, there's going to be a Disney movie made about these three boys, how they overcame all the odds. I didn't think they would win, but they did. I didn't know. I didn't think. Here we go. I didn't know if the teens would know how to bond and sit and laugh and talk without their phones, but they did. Sitting there watching them while we're eating dinner and just laughing, and some of them held their hands a little bit like this because they were used to their phone being in their hand, but they talked, they laughed. It was just amazing. I didn't know if the teens would get into rec time. Go ahead and show that video, but they did. These are our teens. Wait a minute. These are these calm kids over here jumping around like crazy people. It's burning up outside. They're getting soaked. All these things, and yet there they are jumping around, acting crazy. They did get into it. I didn't know if the teens would get into worship. Go ahead and show that next video, but they did. Just amazing seeing our teens as they raise their hands, as they worship God all together. You know, our teens, in church, you feel like you got to be proper a little bit and stuff. They just let go. They raise their hands. I heard recently a guy said, we don't need to have that new music in our church. This wasn't here, don't worry, it wasn't here. But I heard someone say from another church, we don't need to have that new music because it does something to the teenagers. It makes them move and things like that. My goodness, wow. Was I excited to see them moving for the Lord? Was I excited to see hands raised in the air? Was I excited to see them singing to the Lord? I was praising the Lord. I didn't know if they'd get into worship, but they did. I didn't know if the teens would get much out of the sermons, but they did. I didn't know if I could be in awe of a group of teens and their passion for Christ, but I am. I didn't know if God would move in teens' hearts. Go ahead and go to the next one, but He did. Seeing them pray together, seeing them cry together, it was amazing. I didn't know that this room would be a room. Go ahead and go to show the next picture. I didn't know that this room would be a room where we would grow together, where we would learn together, where we would pray together, where we would weep together. This one room, I had to take a picture of it because I wish you could have been a fly on the wall. To hear your teens and what they said, to hear your teens and what they would talk about in the sermon. We would have a time, as they said, where we would go into this room after the sermon was over and they would pour out their heart. This is what I got. This is what I got. And I expected crickets to be in the room, and I got this. I got this. And it was different. Everybody got something different, and it all kind of worked out, and everybody was even taking notes in this room on each other's notes. It was just amazing. This was our war room for the week, and it wasn't even the room we were supposed to be in. But we ended up in this room. We couldn't find our room. We went to this room, and that was our room for the week. And man, I'm just telling you, if I could have just set a recorder in there and just recorded the week, I would watch it on a weekly basis. It was just amazing. Ask your kids about that room. But I soon realized that God was doing something special. As we were supposed to go to this camp last year, and like Becca said, God knew we needed this for this year. We needed to take heart. We needed to have this courage. We needed to grow together in these ways. And so very quickly, I know I'm out of time, but I wanted to share with you 3 things that are things that I learned and I kind of came up with as I was thinking about the whole week and trying to pack it into a quick 10-minute discussion, and then things that I want you to pray for the teens about. The theme of the week was take heart. Go ahead and go to the next slide there. Take heart is my point number 1. You've got to take heart, okay? John 16:33, it says, "These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer." It says, take heart, I have overcome the world. The thing that we need to understand is that we've got to get it. We've got to take heart. It is our choice whether we make this decision or not, whether we decide to take heart or not. We know that God has already overcome the world. We know that He's in control. We know that the end of the story tells us these things, but there are so many times when we get distracted in life. So it is our choice to get it. It is our choice to take heart. It is our choice to be of good cheer in this fight. When the world is beating you down and beating you down and beating you down, it is our choice whether we will rely on what God's Word says. This is one verse out of the thousands of verses that tell us to have courage, to be of good cheer, that He's in charge. He knows what's going on. He knows and He sees what's going on. Be of good cheer, to take heart. Number 2, not only to take heart, I wrote this down, to show heart. We've got to give it. Deuteronomy 31:6 says to be strong and of a good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, He it is that goeth with thee. He will not fail thee, nor will He forsake thee. We've got to show heart. We've got to allow what God is teaching us, and as we take heart, and as we decide that I'm going to have this cheer, I'm going to be courageous, I need to show it to others. You see, everybody is watching everybody in here. The teens are watching the adults are watching the teens, the kids are watching. They need to see that we mean what we say. When I get up here and sing, when I get up here and preach, when I get up there and talk about God, I mean it. I live it. It is not a one-day thing. It is not a Sunday only thing. It is a through the week. Your kids are watching you. Your family's watching you. The world's watching you. We need to show that we have heart. Not just keep it in. Oh, I know the end of the story, so I'm good for the rest of it. No, show it to others. Be of good cheer. Be strong and of good courage. Fear not. Why? Because God says He will not fail you and He will not forsake you. That is show heart. And number 3, we've got to keep heart. We've got to guard our heart. The Bible says many times to guard our heart. We've got to guard those things. Why? Because the devil is as a what? You guys say it. Is as a what? A roaring lion. He's seeking whom he may what? Devour. So we got to take heart. We've got to show that heart, but we've got to guard our heart because the devil wants to take it away. He wants to take our passion away. He wants to take our love of God away. This week is going to be the hardest week for them. Why? Because the devil knows that they've learned some things and he's coming after them full force. Somehow I'm going to get you down. Somehow I'm going to beat you up. Somehow I'm going to get you distracted. Somehow I'm going to show you something that will get your mind off of everything you learn. We've got to keep this heart. We've got to guard it. Philippians 1:6, somebody quoted it earlier. It says, being confident of this very thing, that He which hath begun a good work in you. What does it say? He will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Once again, He keeps you. once again, he holds on to you. Once again, he is helping you through the fire. He is helping you through life. He will be there. It is up to us to take the heart, to show the heart, and to guard our heart, and to keep on following God. It is our choice to do. God is there. It says he has already overcome the world. He knows the end of the story. He is there with you, but it is up to us to overcome it. Or not to overcome it, to keep our heart, to take our heart, to show our heart. I had something completely different ready this week, and I was all ready to preach on my next wilderness service, and on Wednesday, God just started beginning to work on me. He says, you need to share something that you learned this week, because I was watching the teens, and they made such an impact on me that I wanted to share with you guys. So very quickly, that's what I got out of this, and I pray that it encourages you, number one, but I pray that you would also pray over your teens. I'm going to